So this thing won't start. It's a freebie. It was given to me by my neighbor. He hadn't used it for a long time. He couldn't get it to go, and I got it to work half a dozen times, but it never really seemed to have much power. And now, the last couple of times I've used it, it's been really hard to make it go. I mean, it starts really easy, but it won't keep going. I can't rev it up. I went to a local dealer, and he said, well, you know, their shop prices, they're pretty expensive. So he offered me an option where if I give him the carburetor, he can get some part numbers off of it, and he can sell me a kit for it, and then I can put the kit in. You know, that would only be about 25 bucks. So I'm going to try that. So what we have here is a McCullough MT305CPS, and all I'm going to do today is take the carburetor off, which is in this area, and take it to the dealer, and he can give me then find the part numbers that he needs and order a kit for me. Well, I came back from the dealer, and he sold me parts for a Walbro. This is WYL series. Now, apparently they make thousands of carburetors, and this is not technically a Walbro manufactured part. It's made in China, but it's to Walbro's. It's almost a copy of a Walbro. And he sold me this kit. And what I was able to determine is there's a idle adjustment for this carburetor, and that was one of the things that was missing, because there's really no adjustment screws at all on this that I could see. Well, there is one, and it's hidden. It's right on top of this little fitting here. And the way I found it is there's two different options for this piece. One of them is there's a screw right here that's very easy to see, and the other one, this one actually has a cap. And that cap comes out of there, and if I can shine the light right, you can see that there's a little brass screw. Well, that's a needle that you can adjust for idle, and they give a process on how to do that. The dealer recommended I soak this stuff in gasoline, but that's kind of flammable. I didn't want to do that, and I think Terps is just about as good. The other thing he sold me was a can of carburetor cleaner, and these two items together were $30 Australian. The other thing you have to use with this is gloves, because these chemicals can dry out your skin and they're toxic. Probably just best to wear gloves. It's kind of perished. The gasket was sticking to the surfaces there, so just got to make sure you clean all those up. Don't scrape it too much. You don't want to damage the casting. Where the gasket makes contact, you might see a little line running around. That line will indent into the gasket and make a really good seal. This is the brass brush. Cleans it up really nice without scratching the alloy unduly. Okay, something just fell out. You've got to use your ears on a lot of these things. There's something right there, and this tiny little, don't know what that is, but that came out. So when you're doing these little tiny jobs like this, take them apart carefully and take note of all the pieces that come out. What the worst thing that can happen is you have a spring that has a little check ball on top of it, and typically when you release a cover, they just want to go flying everywhere, and you'll never find those pieces. So you just got to do these things carefully. There's a white Teflon looking piece through there, and that looks to be pressed in, so I don't think I'll be messing with that. I think I'll get a tiny little screwdriver for that one. There we go, it came out. Stubborn. Okay, it's got a spring under it. This is one of those things that'll go flying if you don't take steps to keep it from happening. little pin, little spring, and that would be the actual valve itself, valve needle right there. And there it is. Teeny tiny little valve, needle valve. And if you can just tell, there's a little rubber coating on the tip of that. That's how it makes a seal on such light spring pressure in that pocket. There's a filter screen right there. I'll just spray this stuff through here and try to clear all the ports as best I can using pressure from this can. Okay, that's the bulb for charging. No cracks or anything that I can tell. And that is a plug, a little rubber. Oh, look at that. Okay, see if I can get this pointed in here. Right here, it's cracked. It's broken. That may very well be why I can't make this thing go, because that's broken. Well, I hope so. Okay, what's up here? This is a diaphragm. I think I want to poke a hole in that. Okay, let's wash it for now. And that appears to me to be everything inside this carburetor except for this piece, which I don't think I'm going to touch. Seems to work easily, nice and free. Leave that alone. It's clean. Okay, let's see what's inside the kit. I'm going to dump them out on this towel here, make sure there's no other debris that can get mixed up with them. Well, there's that diaphragm. Two different diaphragms. And guess what? That rubber piece is not part of it. All these pieces won't be used because they're for a variety of different sizes. There's a great big needle, which I haven't seen. Here's a tiny needle, which I did take out. Little lever. And these are little caps to push in to cover something. And a teeny tiny O-ring. And a new pin, which is part of this device. The lever. Okay. More investigation here. Right, so I've been looking at this piece. And that is, so the check valve. If you push on the little bulb, where I've got it there, it sucks in fuel from one port or another somewhere in here and allows fuel to come in and not go back. Well, if that's broken, fuel can go back in. I don't know if that can be causing my problem, but guess what? It's not in this kit. You can't even get that piece. This is a second-hand piece. It appears to be identical. And it's just got a different color little valve, check valve there. Let's break this off the rest of the way and see if I can, oh, there the piece came out. That's what it looks like. It's just pressed in. I'm going to put the original piece back in. And I'll just retrofit this rubber, this black bit, in place of this destroyed red bit. And I hope it works, but that is a much more rigid piece of rubber, and it might make it very sensitive to fuel. I don't know. Here we go. Okay. That'll have to do. Oh, that's the way it works then. Okay. That's the original gasket. Here's the replacement gasket. They look identical. Okay. Here's the original diaphragm.
Okay, that's not the right one. Neither one is the right one. Well, that's terrific. Well, okay. The original one's in the middle. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I am guessing functionally they're identical, so I am going to use this one. I guess I will reassemble from this point. Oh, well, it went in. There you go. Went in easier than I thought. Is the inside of that cup, and that'll seal around that there. Leave that off for now, since I don't need it. Next piece is here. We have a pin, screw, needle valve, spring, and lever. Might have to get another hand here. Two little pins on the top of this casting, here and here, engage the diaphragm there. Okay. We leave that for the moment. Now the body. One side here is the idle mixture screw, and I've already unscrewed it from the top here. That's the one that had the plug on it. There we go. Feels like it's got an O-ring on it. Don't touch it there, it's got threads. There we go. It just looked stained, so if it's just stained, there's nothing really that can be blocked. I'm just going to have to use it. Okay, does that spring go there? Well, as near as I can tell, the only other spring in this kit is to a fuel pump, and this does not have a fuel pump, because the piece is there, number 21, and that doesn't. I have no such thing. So, or 20A, I guess. 20A is the spring fuel pump. So, what I'm going to say is that it belongs to this, keeps this idle mixture screw from backing out. It's just extra tension. And I'm going to prove that now by trying to screw it in here. Using a screwdriver, turn it out till the threads disengage. Turn that needle clockwise 10 to 12 turns very slowly. So I've made a mark on my screwdriver. Don't know if you can see it. Go 11 turns. 1, 2, 10, 11. Okay, that spring didn't jam it up in there, so I'm going to say that that's where it belongs. Oh, something else I have to put on. Inside there is a screen. There's my new screen. Came in the kit, so I'll push that in there. Okay, that's that piece. Because this one has those little flappers, and it's got to be plugging those holes. So if I put any gasket that doesn't allow those flappers to move, that's the old gasket there, then that means it won't work. So I'm going to put it on there like that. Now those little flappers can move, and I think that's the way that goes. Okay, next, this piece has this piece to go on. Doesn't appear to be that the O-ring, this little teeny O-ring, is not called out anywhere on the parts list. So that appears to me that that doesn't go there in this kit. And then all I have to do is put these two together. Well, okay. Guess I just start reassembling it then onto the weed trimmer. Goes on like this then. There we go. That is the correct and proper way. Now what I don't like about this is bent. And that was bent. It's supposed to slide in this thing here. But that doesn't turn really easy. Anyways, that's probably going to mean it'll break the throttle cable eventually, because it's supposed to not be bending. It's supposed to be pivoting. This is supposed to pivot. It's not supposed to bend there, bend on this cable. This green one's the overflow, and this is the fuel supply. So fuel supply goes there. The overflow goes there. And that is a one-way valve. The only thing I can do with this piece is run a rag through here. And it's just an air valve. It's not very critical, I don't think. Great. It has swelled right up. Good grief. Might have been a wrong thing to let that soak in that fluid. Huh. Would have thought that would swell up and destroy itself. Because I put it in terps, for Pete's sake. That's destroyed. Doesn't work now. Well, it's going to have to survive without it. O-rings on there, the gasket. I don't know how tight is tight. So I'm going to say that's good. It's firm. Everything seems to be working. Now way down deep inside here is that needle, which is right here, and I'll have to adjust that. Right now I've just adjusted it to 11, and the instructions say adjust idle screw with the engine in the, okay, after I've got it to 10 to 12 turns, start the engine. With the engine in the idle position, continue turning that inner needle clockwise or down further. The idle RPM should increase or in lean until the peak lean idle is obtained. Don't know what that RPM is. Turn the inner idle needle counterclockwise rich until optimal idle is obtained. And then adjust this screw to for the correct engine speed to rev it up or down. I've treated this fuel with fuel stabilizer, so it can be left setting and it won't turn to gel inside the carburetor. They say fuel like these, for these engines should only be no older than 30 days. Over 30 days sitting in there, it can cause problems. I don't know, that's just what the little container said. But I do know that these little engines get really fussy if you don't keep the fuel fresh in them.
It is sucking fuel, and the overflow here has got air bubbles going through it, so you get fuel into it, if nothing else. Starting procedure on this says pull it 10 times, and if it doesn't start, prime it again. You know, I never tightened up that bottom piece.
In my hurry to put this back together, I never tightened up this piece here. I noticed it was squirting fuel all over my fingers, so might be one reason why it didn't start. Call that good. No more fuel squirting out.
I think I understand why it doesn't run now, is I left this hose off. It goes between this here and that there. That means it's getting far too much air right now. So put on these little clips, slide that on there, and on here. Should be somewhat different now. All right, so we'll try this again. That's going to have to do. I messed up that little piece that's in here. I probably won't be able to find another. And at the end of the day, it's an air slide or an air, that's extra air in there, and according to where this little ramp is, but I can't fix it. Anyways, it seems to run, and it certainly didn't run before. So I reckon, this job is 90% for me. For a free one, it works. Good. It's been a couple of days. This is the rubber cone, the air valve. I broke off of this. It's just kind of formed on it. But it shrank back to its normal size. It's torn now. So it won't work perfectly. But I guess at the end of the day, something is better than nothing. So I'm going to put that back in and just try to align it so that it works for the most part, works like it's supposed to work. I'll put that back in here. And it's better than nothing, anyways. Yeah, it's working. The little plunger's going up and down inside there. So, this should be good.